No, they can't.
Say what?
No, they can't.
And you have zero information about what Mr. Justin Smith to intervene on an excessive force case if they don't see or know that the kicks occurred?
No, they can't.
Say what?
No, they can't.
And you have zero information about what Mr. Justin Smith saw or appreciated during that interaction. Is that right?
That's true.
And just to save a little time, you really have no information regarding what any officer out there on the scene other than Emmitt Martin saw, right?
That's correct.
And you are familiar with the fact that pepper spray or OC spray had been utilized by one of the officers, his name is Mills, at least 3 times during that brief arrest.
That's correct.
And you can see on the video Emmitt Martin bailing out because he had OC spray. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And you see Mills bail out and is gone for over 1.5 minutes. And he's the one who shot the pepper spray. Is that right?
That's correct.
But Mr. Smith and Mr. Bean are still in a 90-degree angle trying to get Mr. Nichols in handcuffs. Is that right?
They are.
Did you see Mr. Smith or Mr. Bean take a break?
No, sir, I did.
Since you've been in policing for so long, what does OC stand for?
Ole and Capstan.
Say it again.
Ole and Capstan.
Right. And they have different powers, don't they? Different percentages. Don't they?
Yes, they do.
And they have one that's 1.5. Is it 1.5%?
I believe so.
And then one 5%. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And the 1.5% is used by,
Civilians.
and the 5% is used by.
Law enforcement officers.
Okay. So I can't go out and get 5% OC, can I?
Normally, no.
I cannot. It's illegal for me to have it if I'm not a cop, right?
Correct.
And is that in reference to how powerful that OC spray is?
Yes, sir.
And that night, you looked at the use of force reports, you looked at the different things. Mr. Mills had 5% OC spray, is that right?
Yes.
And you're not supposed to shoot an OC shot to a suspect for longer than what? One burst?
One burst, yes.
Right. So one burst on a suspect incapacitates the normal suspect. Is that right?
Normally it does.
If OC spray does not incapacitate a suspect, what does that tell you based upon your, 50 some odd years in law enforcement?
That the suspect's not susceptible to pepper spray, or the suspect may be under the influence of some narcotic.
All right. Next question. Do responding officers rely on other officers within their department collectively using only necessary force to effectuate an arrest?
Yes.
If I'm a cop, you're a cop, I really don't know you, but we're in the same precinct, and we show up at the same crime scene, is it within the to intervene on an excessive force case if they don't see or know that the kicks occurred?
No, they can't.
Say what?
No, they can't.
And you have zero information about what Mr. Justin Smith saw or appreciated during that interaction. Is that right?
That's true.
And just to save a little time, you really have no information regarding what any officer out there on the scene other than Emmitt Martin saw, right?
That's correct.
And you are familiar with the fact that pepper spray or OC spray had been utilized by one of the officers, his name is Mills, at least 3 times during that brief arrest.
That's correct.
And you can see on the video Emmitt Martin bailing out because he had OC spray. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And you see Mills bail out and is gone for over a minute and a half, and he's the one who shot the pepper spray. Is that right?
That's correct.
But Mr. Smith and Mr. Bean are still in a 90-degree angle trying to get Mr. Nichols in handcuffs. Is that right?
They are.
Did you see Mr. Smith or Mr. Bean take a break?
No, sir, I did.
Since you've been in policing for so long, what does OC stand for?
Ole and Capson.
Say it again.
Ole and Capson.
Right. And they have different powers, don't they? Different percentages, don't they?
Yes, they do.
And they have one that's 1.5. Is it 1.5%?
I believe so.
And then one 5%. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And the 1.5% is used by,
Civilians,
and the 5% is used by.
law enforcement officers.
Okay. So I can't go out and get 5% OC, can I?
Normally, no.
I cannot. It's illegal for me to have it if I'm not a cop, right?
Correct.
And is that in reference to how powerful that OC spray is?
Yes, sir.
And that night, you looked at the use of force reports, you looked at the different things. Mr. Mills had 5% OC spray, is that right?
Yes.
And you're not supposed to shoot an OC shot to a suspect for longer than what? One burst?
One burst, yes.
Right. So one burst on a suspect incapacitates the normal suspect, is that right?
Normally it does.
If OC spray does not incapacitate a suspect, what does that tell you based upon your, 50 some odd years in law enforcement?
That the suspect's not susceptible to pepper spray, or the suspect may be under the influence of some narcotic.
All right. Next question. Do responding officers rely on other officers within their department collectively using only necessary force to effectuate an arrest?
Yes.
If I'm a cop, you're a cop, I really don't know you, but we're in the same precinct, and we show up at the same crime scene, is it within the industry of law enforcement that I can rely upon you, even though I don't know you, to use only necessary force to effectuate an arrest?
Yes, it is.
And the force that we saw from Emmitt Martin was, I think you said what? Was it unnecessary or what?
It was unnecessary.
And is that the same as excessive?
It can be, yes.
So it's not this. I just asked you, is unnecessary the same as excessive? Is it or is it not?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So if we hear unnecessary force, are you using that word as excessive?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So do you have any reason to believe that any officer out there on the scene could not reasonably rely on the fact that another officer, trained, post-certified, is going to use only necessary force to effectuate an arrest?
That's right. That's what they.
But
That's correct.
so we don't have to have a team meeting before an arrest and say, now everybody uses necessary force on this one, okay? You don't have those kind of meetings, do you?
No, sir.
All right. Because you have to rely that they will utilize their training and only use necessary force. Is that right?
That's correct.
So if Emmitt Martin is using unnecessary force while people are blind and can't breathe, do they have a duty to intervene if they can't see it?
They can't see it. They can't intervene.
We've been talking a lot about the cops and what the cops' duties are when Emmitt Martin is doing what he's doing and Haley's doing what he's doing. Let's talk about Nichols for a moment. Did you see anything in all the videos that you watched? Let me rewind. Mr. Bean over there, he chased Mr. Nichols. Is that right?
That's correct.
You've seen that video of his body cam. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Was there anything keeping Tyre Nichols when Bean had to tackle him? You agree with me? He had to tackle him, right?
Yes, sir.
Bean had no choice but to tackle the suspect, right?
To stop him, yes, sir.
Was there anything keeping Mr. Tyre Nichols from saying, "Oh, I'm done.
No, there wasn't.
Because Mr. Hagerman asked you what was keeping the officers from saying, whoa, I got this, we got this. I want to ask you, was there anything keeping Nichols from saying, hey, I give up?
No, nothing at all.
And instead, what did he do?
He continued to fight and resist the officers.
As an expert, you know what a crime saturation unit is, don't you?
Basically, yes, sir.
And a crime saturation unit, as we've heard at this trial, is a unit that goes into high crime neighborhoods,
Yes, sir, it is.
looking for specific types of crimes and the effects of crime. That's what we've been told. Is that what you understand to be?
That's what I understand, sir.
Would it surprise you to know that this unit, per officer, over a 3-year period, per officer, averages over 1,000 felony arrests?
Wow.
Would that surprise you? That's a bunch, isn't it?
It's a lot.
It's over 1.5. If you only work 5 days a week, that's about 2 a day, isn't it?
Yep.
Is my math right?
Yes, sir.
Those are felony arrests.
Yes, sir.
Now, would it surprise you that the members of this unit, on every one of those arrests, 80 to 90% of those arrestees have a hidden weapon on them? Would that surprise you?
Not at all.
So is that percentage for felony arrest, is that nationwide or is that just Memphis or what?
It's pretty much nationwide.
80 to 90% of the arrestees have a hidden weapon on them.
That's true.
So as Mr. Bean is running down the street and Mr. Smith is getting out of his car to help Bean get him handcuffed, does that mean there's an 80 to 90% chance that that suspect has a hidden weapon?
That's true.
Do you know what blading is?
Pardon me?
I do like to get you on the hearing. Do you know what blading is?
Blading. Well,
If I lay on my hip instead of laying on my back or on my belly, is that blading?
basically, yes, sir.
Well, you say basically, but that is blading.
That is blading.
Is blading dangerous if a suspect is blading?
Yes, sir.
In fact, blading can occur when you're laying on the ground on your hip, and blading can occur as I confront you. Isn't that blading?
That's blading also.
All right. So if I'm on the ground and I'm blading with a free hand, does that allow the suspect to get a weapon?
It certainly does.
And in all the videos you saw, did you ever see Nichols lay on his belly or on his back?
He laid on his belly, didn't lay on his belly nor on his back.
You say he did not?
Did not.
Right. He laid on his hip. He bladed the whole time, correct?
Yes, sir.
Are officers trained in your academies and other academies to watch out for blading?
Certainly, that's why we put them on their stomach.
Do officers who get a radio call, this is a national standard for lack of a better word, do officers who get a radio call requesting assistance with capturing an unsearched fleeing suspect who has been tased and sprayed, do they have the luxury of not responding to that?
No, they better not.
What happens if they do?
They get disciplined.
Okay. Do those officers hearing that call, do they have the luxury of taking their time to get there?
No, they have to expedite.
And expedite means what?
Get there as quickly as they can.
Blue lights and sirens,
Yes, sir.
breaking the speed laws,
Yes, sir.
safely going through traffic lights that are marked red.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Hagerman was very precise when he asked you this question, so I want to be just as precise. As he went through each act of Emmitt Martin, the punches, remember he went through, that's punch 1, then he went to another, punch 2, and I think he got 5 punches, is that right?
I believe he did.
He would ask, when they see something like that, do the officers have a duty to intervene? And you answered every time, you answered yes.
Right.
But isn't the key word there in that question Mr. Hagerman asked, when they see something like that?
Right. If they see it, they have to intervene. If they don't see it, they can't intervene.
Now, what is tunnel vision?
Tunnel vision is where you focus in on one thing. I may focus in on your waistband. I may focus in on your hands.
In a critical incident, scientists have established what degree of tunnel vision does someone have?
I don't know the exact statistic, but
Does 2 degrees sound right?
about right, yes.
Okay. So, in a critical incident, an officer, not knowing what his safety is or risk is at that time, just treating it as a high-risk arrest, and he has tunnel vision. Is this about 2 degrees?
About.
Now, if someone wears glasses, like I wear glasses, and you take the glasses off, now what's my vision? Is it less or more?
I think it's a lot less.
If I get shot in the eyes with OC spray, how much do I have?
Almost none.
How dangerous is one handcuff to a wrist?
Very dangerous.
You watched Justin Smith put one handcuff on the left wrist. You even used a photograph of it with Mr. Stingle. Is that right?
That's correct.
That photograph was taken in the sequence of events after the officers had been sprayed with spray. Is that right?
That's correct.
What is auditory exclusion?
Auditory exclusion is you cut down the sound outside because you're focusing on one thing.
It's like tunnel vision for your ears, isn't it?
Exactly.
Scientists have shown that people have gone into shootouts and everything else and not remember any of the shooting or any of the words said during the shooting. Is that right?
Right. Don't even hear the shots.
Until later, until they watch it on video and say, oh yeah, that looks like somebody did say that. That's not unusual, is it?
No, not at all.
Chasing a suspect with an 80 to 90% chance they have a hidden weapon on them down a dark street with OC spray in your face, would that fall in the category of critical incident where officers have 2 degree or less tunnel vision and no hearing?
That certainly would.
In fact, you actually expect that to happen, don't you?
Yes, you do.
Officers out there on that street, Bear Creek and Castlegate, not like sitting here in this room watching it on TV, is it?
Not at all.
Videos from a body cam or a pole cam or anything else, they don't capture the exhaustion that a cop goes through, does it?
No,
It doesn't capture the fear that a cop is going through, does it?
not at all.
You know, that's all I have.
All right, Mr. Perry. Thank you, John. Mr. Cameron, before today, have you ever had any conversation independently with Tadarrius Bean?
No, sir, I have not.
And today you haven't had any conversation with Tadarrius Bean, right?
No.
And do you know whether or not Tadarrius Bean had ever met Mr. Tyre Nichols before that evening?
I have no idea.
But you do know just from your experience in this particular case that one of the officers saw the suspect and he met a description, right?
Yes.
And you saw that that person who saw the suspect that met the description got out of the passenger side of a car. Am I correct?
That's correct.
And when he got out the passenger side of the car, based off of your reading of the information that was provided in this case, he didn't have any idea of whether or not that suspect had a gun, knife, baton, anything on this person, correct?
No, he did not.
Now, based off of your reading in the file and your research in this case and your participation on behalf of Mr. Haley, is it your understanding that that same suspect caused a bolo to go out regarding who he was, or be on the lookout for this particular person?
Correct.
Based off of your research, is it true that that suspect supposedly had overcome 3 men weighing in excess of 250 pounds based on the bolo?
Yes, sir.
Is it true that the person who hears that is expected to get out of a vehicle and travel down 80 yards of a dark street to apprehend this suspect based on what you testified a few moments ago as his job requirement?
It is his job requirement.
And based off of your observation this morning and in review, has Mr. and I'm going to say it, the person who got out of that car is Tadarrius Bean. Is that in any way a violation of what you know as proper procedure, policy, etc.?
No, it's not.
He tackles him. Okay. That's not something that you do with people walking down the street on a regular basis, right?
Not normally.
Right. So that is a use of force, though, correct?
Correct.
And at that point, you didn't see anything that was violative of a right or that was inappropriate or excessive, correct?
No, nothing at all.
Now, you have presented across the country at different occasions, right?
Yes, sir, I have.
And you've discussed yourself in the past the difference between ineffective force and excessive force.
Correct.
And those are two terms, and I think that you were given some terms a few moments ago, but there is a distinct distinction, according to what you said before, between what from a 100-yard away pole cam or 100-foot away pole cam might look as excessive versus what would look as be in fact ineffective.
Exactly.
Can you tell this jury the difference between ineffective and excessive?
Ineffective is when you're not accomplishing what you're trying to accomplish. In most cases, get the person into custody, get them handcuffed. That's ineffective force.
When you're being asked questions by Mr. Hagerman regarding whether or not if the person comes up and you see them getting soccer kicked or what have you, number one, could you tell whether or not the kick connected to the person?
No, I couldn't.
Could you tell whether or not Mr. Bean, who at that point had two different bursts of pepper spray hit him, according to testimony, whether or not he could see that somebody is either about to kick or where they're about to kick this person?
I don't believe so.
All right. Now, you also said that based on what you were looking at, that the person who we know as Mr. Tyre Nichols was not coming into compliance, was he?
No, he wasn't.
Did it appear that his arms are moving, even from this 100-foot away pole cam? Did it appear that his arms are moving, etc.?
Yes, sir.
Now, does Mr. Bean have the same luxury as somebody who might be on the news looking at it and saying, oh, look, they look like they have him in custody right here? Does Mr. Bean have that luxury if he has OC spray in his eyes and he knows that this person is not handcuffed while he's standing over him, as it's been described? He doesn't. Does he have that same luxury if it's January 7th and it's 43 degrees outside and it's wet outside and he's trying to get this person into compliance? And in fact, he on that scene commands at least 30 times to get his hands. Does he have that same luxury as somebody watching or describing it on the news?
Not at all.
Does Mr. Bean have the luxury to know whether or not this person is running because they might have something stolen in their car? Does he have that luxury?
No. It's a unknown factor.
And so while he's out there and he has this person's hand, does he have the luxury to let it go during this fast sequence of events?
No, not at all. It's his responsibility.
Now, this would be somewhat different than if he sees somebody choking a person or if he sees somebody doing something to try to strangle him and he's looking from the side and he just says nothing. That's a different sequence, is it not?
It certainly is.
If he's engaged in trying to apprehend this person who refused to give his hand, and for a period of 14 seconds, he's holding one arm, Justice Smith is holding the other arm, and this person has not laid on the ground, has not done anything that he's been told to do, and he's trying to walk in a circle. If Mr. Bean has pepper spray in his eyes, if Mr. Bean has just run a dead sprint to try to catch this person, if Mr. Bean has tried to be overcome by what at least 6 different officers described as the strongest person they've ever tried to apprehend, does Mr. Bean have the luxury to let him go and have an altercation with another officer who might in fact use either excessive or ineffective force?
No, he can't let go.
Can he let go and say, hey, stop, man? This is not how they taught us in the academy. Can he do that?
No, he certainly can't.
Mr. Bean ain't on the news describing something. Mr. Bean is out there trying to get this person into custody. Mr. Bean is not Mr. Hagerman asking you questions and can get a do-over. Mr. Bean is holding this person. Can he put his life, the life of the suspect, above his and his fellow officers' lives if this man won't do a darn thing that he's being asked to do?
No, he certainly can't.
And you didn't have to ask Mr. Bean a question to determine that, did you? You know that from your 50-plus years in law enforcement.
Correct.
And based on that, and if you had a chance to have those conversations with Mr. Bean, and he indicates that,
We need to approach for this.
I'm just shocked. I'm speechless at this point. But I can't wait till we get to Justin's testimony. Because I did see that. Well, I didn't see it, but I saw where he was on the stand. Yeah, but you know John Keith Perry, he got to turn into a whole preacher. He got to make a scene. So,
Based on the factors that we were just discussing, OC spray in the eyes, a non-compliant suspect, and the ability to try to get that person's hands into custody or cuffs, is the person a consistent threat if you do not control that person's arms and you can't put them in handcuffs?
Yes, sir, he is.
And based off of the narrow scope and time and the movements of the suspect and what you have observed, and based on the conditions that we've talked about, those factors being in place, are Mr. Bean, who there's been no testimony that he struck this person in the head, that he kicked this person, or any of those things, would you then, based on those premises, have any sort of issues with Mr. Bean's conduct on that particular scene?
No, it was doing what I was trained to do, get the person into handcuffs.
I'll pass the witness.
Now, it goes me, maybe. Not gonna hit you with the barrage. You don't have problems with Mr. Bean if he didn't see it, right?
Right, if you didn't see it, he can't take any action.
Exactly. That's really the issue here. I mean, simply put, if Mr. Smith and Mr. Bean saw that first soccer kick to the head, then they have a duty to intervene, correct?
Correct.
If they didn't, that's part of the excessive force, correct?
It's not excessive force, because they didn't see it.
If they did see it.
I'm going to object. This is outside the scope of redirect.
There are a whole bunch of questions about the actions that took place that evening. I think as far as the questions, they encompass the questions that Mr. Hagerman is asking. So I'll allow those questions.
If Mr. Bean saw it, he has a duty to intervene, correct?
That's correct.
Because that force, Martin's first kick, soccer kick, was excessive, correct?
Correct.
If Mr. Bean saw that second kick to the head, which again was excessive, then he has a duty to intervene, correct?
Yes, he did.
If he saw those haymakers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, each one in between, if he saw those, he has a duty to intervene, correct?
That's correct.
And the same with Mr. Smith.
Correct.
So it's really a question of if they saw it or not, right?
That's correct.
I think we agree on that.
I think we do.
Either misheard you or you misspoke. Because you made a statement when Mr. Perry was asking you questions that you couldn't tell if Tyre was getting kicked or not.
I couldn't tell where he was being kicked.
Okay, but you could tell that the kicks were making contact with him, correct?
It appeared that they were, just from his body language.
And so I'm wondering here where we're coming from, because you could so clearly tell for us that Mr. Haley kicked him in a certain spot.
Right.
Correct?
Correct.
And could you equally clearly see Martin kick him in the head?
I could see him kicking him, and it was towards his head.
Well, I think that's probably good enough to be unnecessary and excessive, right?
It certainly is.
That's all, Judge.
All right. Anything else of this witness?
No, Judge. No, yeah.
All right, so those are all the questions we have for you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Please watch your steps. See what we
I
have.
will.
Is the defense ready with their next witness?
Yes, Your Honor. Garrett O'Brien.
Call for O'Brien. Senator, this is just raise your hand. Sir, do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you give today will be the truth and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes, sir.
All right, please have a seat, sir.
With Your Honor's permission,
Yes, sir.
could you please state your full name, first and last, and spell it for the court reporter, please?
Garrett O'Brien, Garrett Obrien.
What do you do for a living, sir?
I'm a police officer.
Have you been a Memphis, at one point, were you a Memphis police officer?
I was.
You are currently a police officer in one of the suburban towns here in Shelby County, is that right?
Yes,
How long were you a Memphis police officer?
for just over 10 years.
And when did you first become a Memphis police officer?
I graduated from the police academy in November of 2012.
And so that, I'm doing the math, that puts you up to about 2022,
Yes, sir.
and then you transfer to another department. Now, during that period of time from 2012 to 2022, did you have occasion to know Mr. Justin Smith?
I did.
And you see Justin Smith here in the courtroom, is that right?
I do.
And in what capacity did you know Justin Smith?
I had executed a search warrant on a property.
Well, we have to bring the jury. Did you work with him at the Memphis Police Department?
Yes.
So Justin Smith worked for what division of the Memphis Police Department?
The Scorpion team,
Which is part of?
the organized crime unit.
That's right. And were you also a member of the OCU?
I was.
Okay. So as part of your role at the OCU, go ahead, you were executing a search warrant. Is that the first time you'd met Justin Smith?
Yes.
Okay. And since that time, and we may get into that, okay? But since that time, did you make yourself familiar with Justin, become friends with Justin?
Since that time, we had worked.
Since that event?
Yes, we had spoken several times since that event.
Okay. And so did you work, and within OCU, did you have knowledge of his reputation within OCU?
Yes.
And what was that reputation within OCU or the Memphis Police Department?
He was a stand-up.
Police Department.
He was a stand-up guy. Every conversation ever I had with him, any cases that I would work, I was a daytime team, was an auto theft investigator. Any case that I needed worked in the evening, I had multiple conversations with him stating, hey, this is the report number. So this isn't just on the fly, on the wall, somebody might have said something. This is a legitimate case. These are the individuals I'm looking for. This is the car, the tag. This is the area that they might be in. If you happen to be in that area, can you please look for this vehicle? If you happen to look for it, do a continuation to that report. Here's my personal number. Reach out to me if you ever happen to get anything.
Okay. You may have misunderstood my question, or I may have said it wrong. What was Justin Smith's reputation within the Memphis Police Department or OCU? I haven't asked you about your impressions of him yet. Okay. What was his reputation within the Memphis Police Department?
He was a good, upstanding officer.
Was he a notch above or way above other officers?
From my recollection, yes.
And that was his reputation?
Yes.
And your opinion of Justin as a person, what was it?
It was a good opinion, good impression. And like I said, every time I had a conversation with him, it was very attentive. It wasn't just somebody that was just there to be there. He had a emotional investment in everything that I had to say to him.
I don't want to lead you, okay? But was he professional?
Yes.
Was there any other qualities that you might be able to share with the jury about Justin Smith?
He cared.
Cared about what?
He absolutely cared about the citizens and the people that we were looking for to bring those persons to the appropriate justice that the court would see fit.
All right, now go to the search warrant that you wanted to jump right off into when you got here. So you did have an occasion to work a search warrant, hit a house on a search warrant. Did you ask Justin and others to assist you in hitting that house and get that search warrant served?
Yes, so I wrote the search warrant in the wee hours of the night after I received information of the stolen car. that came from another state. I wrote the search warrant, had the search warrant signed by a judge, and then the on-duty team, which would have been the Scorpion team, came out to assist me. We knew the house to be unoccupied. It was an apartment complex. We knew it to be unoccupied. Once we make entry into the house, to the apartment, we then begin the search. During that search, $5,000 was found, roughly $5,000. Justin, who had been reading the warrant while the search was being done, come to me and said, hey, you can't take this money. The search warrant is not, this cash is not in the search warrant. You cannot take this money.
You're the one who wrote the search warrant. You're the one who had a judge sign the search warrant. You were about to take the $5,000 cash, and Justin, who really was just there to support you, pointed that out to you. Is that right?
Correct.
What would have happened to you if you'd have walked out of that apartment with that $5,000?
I probably would have had some legal headaches. God forbid somebody would try to say that I stole $5,000.
And that was not Justin's case, was it?
He had no say in the matter. He got nothing from me taking the money or nothing from me leaving the money.
Y'all, that's all I have this witness.
Mr. Perry? Samuel? State?
No questions.
All right, so those are all the questions we have for you, sir. You can step in. Thanks, sir. All right, Vince, with your next witness.
Brian Emmitt. Emmitt, apparently. Maybe over room 503. Yep, we've been waiting all day. Maybe over 503.
Stand right here, sir. Raise your right hand and be sworn by the judge.
So do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you give today will be the truth and nothing but the truth to help you God?
I do.
All right, please have a seat. Proceed.
Could you please state your first and last name?
Brian Nemec, N-E-M-E-C.
Mr. Emmitt, up until recently, where were you employed?
Memphis Police Department,
How long were you employed with the Memphis Police Department?
a little over 32 years.
When you retired, could you give the jury the benefit of what your job was at the time of your, or around the time of your retirement?
The last 18 years of my career, I retired in April of this year. I was with the organized crime unit. I did different tasks over there as a supervisor, lieutenant.
So let's go through the branches, if you will, of organized crime that you were involved with for 18 years.
I was a supervisor over a night shift drug team. I've been a supervisor over the day shift drug team. I've been a supervisor over the DEA task force officers, interstate interdiction. I've done the K9s, supervisor over K9 handling, and over the meth team that did meth labs.
And OCU has many branches and tentacles. Is that right?
Correct.
Part of that is something called the CAT team.
Correct.
Then CJ Davis came and they turned it into the Scorpion team.
Correct.
Do you know, during your tenure of 18 years at OCU, did you have the occasion to have Justin Smith work for you?
I did.
When did Justin Smith first come to work for you?
It was in the early part of 2020.
So at that time, you had how many years experience in OCU, and all those areas?
Roughly about 13.
So he came to work with you. You were a 13-year veteran of OCU. Is that right?
Correct.
What was your impressions of Justin when he first came to work with you?
He was new over there, and we were just starting up what was going to be called Cat 2, which is we already had a Cat 1, so we were building that up. It was going to be like a 12-man team.
Cat stands for what?
Criminal Apprehension Team.
And what was y'all's mission?
Basically, we use statistical data, looking for hot spots in the city, and then we'd go out and address those hot spots.
And you described as hot spots. Is that high crime areas?
Yes.
High violent crimes?
Yes.
Car thefts?
Correct.
Carjackings?
Correct.
Stolen guns?
Yes.
Automatic weapons?
Yes.
And so this criminal apprehension team was being formed up, and you were going to be in charge of it?
Correct.
And Justin Smith was one of your officers wanting to be on your team, or you wanting him to be on your team?
He was assigned over there, and I was a supervisor that was starting it up. I was mainly a drug supervisor, but they had moved me over there temporarily to get the Cat team.
All right. And so now, based on that background, what was your impression of Justin as it relates to being able to do that job?
He came in, and one part of when somebody comes over there temporarily is to evaluate them and see, are they going to make it over here? It's not for everybody. I've had to cut a lot of people that just didn't make it, and I saw a lot of qualities in him. And there's 12 people assigned to me, and I saw qualities in him that I liked.
What qualities?
He was a hard worker. I liked the way he could write. He kind of fit the bill of what we do. He could go in and do the job. He was I call him a motivator. He motivated other officers, and that's an important thing for us to keep these guys motivated. He was courteous, and he was very respectful to everybody and to his coworkers.
Okay. And that's what I was going to ask you. He was courteous and respectful to his coworkers. What about to members of the public?
Yes.
Did you personally observe that?
Yes.
Was that part of your evaluation to determine if he's going to fit in within the criminal apprehension team and work for you?
Yes.
And have you ever known him to be discourteous or anything negative when it comes to interacting with the public?
No.
And then by interacting with the public, I'm talking about people that are armed felons. Have you ever seen him treat armed felons with any lack of respect?
No.
Would you describe him as compassionate?
Yes.
What about his temper? Does he have a temper?
I've never seen in the about 5 to 6 months, I've never seen him have a temper on the job. We did a lot of, afterwards, when something big event happens, we may talk about it the next day. We call it debriefing. We may debrief that night or the next day. And it's kind of talk about a bad situation. It's kind of a way that we can discuss what's the goods and the bads. And a lot of, there may be 2 officers that didn't like the way something happened, and they would, sometimes people get into arguments about it, and we should have done this, we should have done that. I've never had that, never saw that come out of Justin getting angry.
See, you being a police officer dealing with these type of interactions with people that I don't see, okay? You deal with members of the public that Martin Zumach's never going to meet.
Yes.
Okay, so when you described it as a big event, we don't know what a big event is. We think the circus is a big event. So what's a big event in the criminal apprehension team world?
It might be where you have a suspect bail out of a car, you have a lengthy foot chase, and there may be a lot of moving parts. There may be an officer getting injured, and there may be, or you may be hitting a search warrant or something, and some kind of something happened inside the house that a particular team member saw it, and it should have been handled differently. Safety wise, there's a lot of safety. We talk a lot about safety in our job and everything. So we call those kind of big events when something out of the norm happens. We call that a big event.
Was Acosta a big event?
Acosta?
Yeah.
Yes.
Briefly, what was Acosta? Was he an undercover?
He was.
On this team or on this part of OCU?
He was on the drug team, yes.
And was he what?
Just driving down the street and got shot.
Purposefully or accidentally?
Purposely.
And OCU folks from all across the city came because they could hear him on the radio, couldn't they?
Yes,
Is that a big event?
yes.
You undersell it. What is a bad situation, or does that fall in the bad situation category?
That's a bad situation.
Okay. In fact, a couple of OC folks totaled out cars trying to get there. Is that right?
They did.
A couple of them got disciplined. All right. Is Justin going to lose his cool in bad situations or big events?
No, I've not seen that.
Can I speak to my client for a moment? Yes, sir.
No questions.
No questions.
Nick?
I was wondering how long it was, and then you said 18 years in OCU, so
Yes, sir.
I guess that's how long me and you have known each other.
Correct.
And we've worked a lot together.
Correct.
First, just a random question, and then I just have 3 questions. What percentage of the people that you interact with, citizen-wise, civilians, or have armed secret weapons on them?
What I was is mainly plainclothes, and I wasn't in a mark unit. And I went out every day driving around looking for that kind of activity, especially I was in narcotics. And on a CAT team, I was an eyeball. So I would go out and spot for the mark units, and my percentage of what I saw was high.
But
It was, I'd say 80%, 70 to 80%,
a large number.
large number.
We actually worked at OCU together for a couple of years, right?
Correct.
Remember I was over
Yes.
there?
Oh, yes, sir.
And we worked with some pretty hard people, didn't we?
Yes, sir.
Some sort of old school people.
Very old.
So, with harsh language,
Yes.
wasn't always polite.
Nope.
They were demanding,
Correct.
some crazy talking.
There was.
I remember do you remember a meeting where, talking to everybody before the operation? I'm not saying go lay your hands on an MFer, but if you lay your hands on an MFer, lay your hands on an MFer. Sound like something maybe you heard before?
Rule of thumb has always been if you lay your hands on somebody, you have to lay your hands on them, they need to go to jail.
But I don't remember any sort of meeting in which it was said you have somebody on the ground, soccer kick him in the head.
No. No.
That's beyond hard.
Yes.
That'd be wrong,
Correct.
even for those guys, those hard guys.
Yes.
I don't remember a meeting in which they said, if you see excessive force, ignore it.
No, you did not know.
That would never be said.
No.
I don't remember a meeting where they say if somebody's injured, don't tell medical personnel about what happened to them.
No.
That would be beyond hard.
Yes.
That'd be wrong.
Correct.
And do you believe officers should be accountable, should be held accountable for excessive force?
Correct. Yes.
Do you believe they should be held accountable if they have the opportunity and don't intervene and stop
Yeah.
other officers?
I'm sorry. Yes.
And you've lived by that now for, you said 32 years?
Yes, sir.
Congratulations on your retirement.
Thank you.
okay?
I'm really thankful, Mr. Paul, for going to these areas, because I also know you to be that kind of person. But more importantly, you're not on trial for second-degree murder. Justin Smith is.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna go through Mr. Hagerman's list. So some of them are not polite. Some of them are old school. He asked you those questions, right?
Correct, yes.
About meetings he apparently was in and you apparently were in.
Yes,
Is Justin Smith polite?
yes.
In fact, is Justin Smith new school or old school?
He's new school.
That's right. He's not old school, is he?
No.
And the one thing you know about Justin Smith is if he saw someone like Emmitt Martin soccer kick someone in the head like you've seen on the video, Justin Smith would be the first one to report him, wouldn't he?
Yes,
Justin Smith would be the first person to stop him, wouldn't he?
yes.
You would bet your reputation on the fact that Justin Smith would have stopped Emmitt Martin if he could see it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Anything else to this witness?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, so those are all the questions. we have. Thank you. Okay, now the attorney's approach.
If Justin is such this wonderful, great man, then why did he cover up for his buddies? Why did he lie? Why did he fill out all these damn forms that made it seem like Tyre was the issue when y'all were the fucking issue? Justin, you may not have fucking dealt the killing blow to him, but you're just as guilty, bruh.
Stand in the circle, raise your right hand, be sworn in by the judge.
Sir, please solemnly swear affirm testimony you give today will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
All right, please have a seat.
Hello, could you please state your first name and last name and spell it slowly for the court reporter in the record?
First name, Mark Woj, last name Wojcicki. Wojcicki.
What do you do for a living?
I am the missions pastor and church administrator at my church, Bartlett Hills Baptist Church.
And how long you been doing that?
Over 2.5 years.
Before that job, what did you do for a living?
For over 25 years, I was a law enforcement officer with the City of Memphis Police Department. I retired as a lieutenant in charge of basic training at the Memphis Police Academy.
Okay, I was going to ask you what your different assignments were at the Memphis Police Department. So let's start with the training academy. Was that your last assignment before retirement?
Yes, sir. I worked for about 2 years there.
And what did you train there?
I trained basic training, all of the basic police uniform patrol training for all the new recruits, in addition to defensive tactics, taking people into custody. I supervised every recruit.
Okay. And you did that for how long? You may have said it. Forgive me if you did.
2 years.
Before that, what did you do at the Memphis Police Department?
For approximately 2 years, I was in charge of the criminal apprehension team at the organized crime unit.
What years was that?
That was 2019 through January 21.
Okay. And before that, what did you do?
I was a supervisor in uniform patrol at Old Allen Alpha Shift, midnight shift, for 1 year.
When did you first, do you know Justin Smith?
Justin Smith was.
Is that a yes?
Yes, sir.
When
I'm,
did you,
I'm sorry.
how many times you testified in court? About 1,000?
It's been a while. I've kind of
Okay.
forgotten a few things.
You're back
Yes,
in the
sir.
preaching business now.
That's right. Yes, sir.
All right. When did you first meet Justin Smith?
Justin Smith was assigned to my unit in, I believe, August of 2020.
And then we are here, of course, about an arrest that occurred in January 7th of 2023. So when he came to your unit, was that Cat Team 1, Cat Team 2? What was it?
That was Cat Team 1.
And did it get its name changed at some point?
After I left, about a year or so after I left, it evolved into or changed into what they call the Scorpion unit now.
Will it be safe to say that if we refer to the Cat Team 1 or Scorpion Team 1, it is in effect much the same thing.
Very similar.
Okay. And when you were in charge of Cat Team 1, was Justin Smith one of your officers?
Yes, sir.
Describe what Justin Smith's reputation was within organized crime when you were there.
Justin Smith was a highly professional, proficient, dedicated officer. He was the kind of officer you'd want living right next door to you.
What's your personal opinion of Justin Smith?
He's an honorable, professional, dedicated man and husband of God.
All right. And over in the Cat Team and Scorpion Team, y'all dealt with very dangerous customers, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
And it takes a special kind of police officer to, number one, keep themselves safe, keep the other officer safe, and keep the situation under control. Could you tell this jury about how Justin Smith fit that mold?
So when I was in charge of the Cat Team, every day we'd have some kind of training of going over how to take suspects into custody, how to do things such as search warrants where there's guns, weapons, drugs, money involved. We go over the procedures, we'd go over safety, and we go over how to take people safely into custody.
And how did Justin Smith do in that environment?
I observed Justin directly, and there have been several times where we've had suspects that were non-compliant that we took into custody with minimal incident, because that's what we want to do. We want to make sure we take people into custody that are supposedly, accused of crimes with the least amount of force necessary to accomplish those duties.
Is that how Justin Smith did his job?
Absolutely.
Do you have any reason to believe that Justin changed the way he was doing his job after you left?
No, sir. In fact, there were several times Justin Smith had came out to the training academy for specialized training to get better at his job.
I'd like you to share with the jury about your experience with OC spray in the eyes, trying to take someone into custody with Justin Smith.
So let's go way back to 1999. Myself and a couple of other officers, Dwight Mann and Greg McGoy, we had to take a domestic violence suspect into custody, and he was bigger than all of us, and he really didn't want to go. And I took control of him, and I tried to wrestle his hands behind his back, and Dwight Mann tried to spray the suspect, and he ended up spraying me. And that was way back when it was just OC, which is oleoresin capsaicin, not the OCCS 5.5% that they have now. That was back when they had the 1%. So this stuff is like 5.5 times stronger that they use now than they used back then. And I mean, it knocked me. It really knocked me for a loop. I could only think about keeping this guy's hands, this guy's arms secure. I couldn't figure out what else was going on.
Let me fast forward a little bit. Have you been out on operations with Justin Smith?
Absolutely.
Have you seen Justin Smith take people into custody?
I've taken people into custody with
That was
Justin
what I was
Smith.
asking you. My actual question was, tell us about the time you took people into custody with Justin Smith.
So there was one time it was up around Chelsea and the interstate. And we had a suspect who had felony warrants. And we got him out of the car, and he struggled and he ran away from us. And we took him to the ground.
Who's we?
Justin Smith, myself, Desmond Mills. I had the suspect's right hand. Justin had his left hand, and Desmond had his legs. And we wrestled his arms to the back and took him into custody.
We then took him to the hospital, make sure he wasn't injured, and took him into 201 Poppy.
What rank were you?
Lieutenant.
So as a lieutenant, you're on the ground with a suspect. Was the suspect as big as I am?
A little bit bigger. About your build, just probably about 2 inches taller.
Took 3 of you.
3 of us, yes.
Now, you've got children, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Would you trust Justin Smith to arrest your children,
Absolutely.
even if they were guilty of a violent crime?
Especially if they were guilty of a violent crime, because I know that what Justin would do, he would operate on the facts, and he would do what he does, do his job as efficiently, as safely as possible. And if that meant using force, he would be able to explain why he used force.
Is Justin going to cover up for anybody else?
Absolutely not.
Is he going to lie?
No, that's not in his character.
Is he capable of abusing a suspect? Is he capable of abusing a suspect to your knowledge?
That's, from my knowledge of Justin Smith, that's not in his nature.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
Oh, nothing, nothing, yeah.
Nothing.
All right, State.
We had another witness come in here and talk about what somebody's capable of or not, but you'd agree with me that people are capable of a lot of things.
Capable is one thing.
Exactly.
In their nature is a different thing.
I think that's probably why you corrected the question, right?
Yeah, I mean, we can all be capable of things, but this is not in Justin's nature.
We can all be capable of things, and for that reason, we all disappoint each other, or can disappoint each other, right?
Yeah, I'm following you.
That's correct, right?
Yeah, we can disappoint each other.
And if Justin were to disappoint us, if Justin were to see excessive force and not intervene, do you believe he should be held accountable?
If he were to see it, and that's the key in my mind, is to see it. I've been pepper sprayed. I know what it does to me.
If he were to see it, should he be held accountable?
Yes.
If he were to take part in it, see it, should he be held accountable?
If he were to have willingly taken part and knowingly taken part, then yes. But if his perception is diminished for certain things, if his goal is to get the guy's hand behind his back and he's struggling with somebody to get into custody, I mean, I'd be more, from myself, I would be concerned about getting the guy's hands behind his back. If I didn't see it or whatever, if I've been sprayed, I might not see it. That's more than likely I wouldn't see it.
And again, and I've asked you 3 times now, and I've said each time, if he saw it, or if you want to put yourself in there, if you saw it. If you saw another officer soccer kicking somebody in the head and you didn't intervene, do you believe that you should be held accountable?
Absolutely.
If you saw another officer throwing haymakers at somebody's head while he was defenseless, do you believe you should be held accountable?
And I did nothing about it?
Exactly.
Yes.
If you didn't even say stop. If you withheld medical information from first responders about that same person, the one that had been kicked or thrown haymakers, if you saw it, do you believe you should be held responsible, accountable?
If I saw it
Yes.
and I knew that it had happened
Yes.
and I said nothing about it,
Yes.
then I should be held accountable.
finished?
Yes.
It may be the Southern Baptist pastor coming out in you, but you use the word nature. Justin Smith's nature. Right?
Yes.
What is Justin Smith's nature when it comes to dealing with other people?
Justin Smith's nature,
That's right.
his character, his nature, his person, who he is. He got into police work to help people.
So knowing what his nature is and having seen the videos that all of us have seen, did Justin Smith see those haymakers?
Your Honor, it just calls for absolute speculation.
It's- Knowing Justin as you know him, would he ever withhold medical treatment from someone?
Absolutely not.
That's all I have.
Anything else to this witness?
Nothing further, Judge.
All right, thank you, sir. Those are all the questions. We'll step down.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Perry, does the defense wish to present any additional proof?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Stengel, does the defense wish to present any additional proof?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Zuma?
No.
All right, having that been said, ladies and gentlemen, the defense, the attorneys for each of the defendants has now rested their case. That's going to conclude the proof of the defense case in chief for each respective defendant. State, do you anticipate presenting any rebuttal proof?
I do not with what proviso. We need to hold the proof open for introduction of the master videos and for whatever else with regard to jury view.
All right. All right, so ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this is going to conclude as far as the presentation of proof for your consideration. Now, we are going to excuse you all as there's still some things that we're going to need to do. But even though you have now received the proof for your consideration, it's still not time to discuss the case or begin to think about or deliberate on the matter. The court is going to give you the law when we meet up next time. At that point, the attorneys will each be able to give their closing arguments. Once we go through those processes, the 12 jurors that are going to be selected to deliberate will be selected at that time. So until that time, it's important that you do not discuss the case, allow anybody to discuss it with you. Please leave your notepads in your chairs, and we'll go ahead and excuse you at this time.
As the anticipated exhibit 42. If you can just make sure that all parties have a chance to review the videos. If there's any videos that were supposed to be redacted, you make sure that those are redacted. Well, there's the training videos that
We have started with counsels doing that.
all right. With regard to the motions, Vince, do you want to proceed with the motions at this time? Do you want to proceed with the motions when we return?
Let me have 2-minute conversation.
Probably not. This court hasn't ran on time since it fucking started, so probably not. Basically, what the judge told the jurors was, don't start deliberating. I have to give y'all a set of laws and basically what y'all need to follow by in order to convict these men. Because the Fed trial, they did
On
the
behalf
same
of
time.
Tadarrius Bean, at this time, I will renew my motion for direction verdict or motion for a verdict of acquittal based on what was stated previously.
Judge, before we go forward, may we all approach?
So basically what's going to happen is, because this is the part I saw when I came back, Justin, Tadarrius, and Haley are finna go on stand and they're finna say they're not finna testify. End of story. Then they're gonna close out court. We'll come back Monday. They'll give closing arguments. The judge is gonna, I'm assuming Sunday, his ass is gonna be working on that list of laws and rules for the jury to follow so they can come to a resolution as to what they can convict these officers on and what not. Because I know when I was on jury duty, they gave us a packet and basically what the law says and yada yada. And, you know, you can't convict if you don't have this or if you blah, blah, blah. So basically, that's what the judge just told the jury. But what's happening right now is they filed another motion of acquittal, which has been denied. They've had 3 fucking motions. The first day they had a motion for double jeopardy. That was denied. On the third day, they had a motion for acquittal. That was denied. The judge pretty much told the defense, we got enough to convict y'all asses, so I'm not dismissing shit. Y'all ain't getting acquittal. And that was the day that it went really bad for defense. And when I say really bad, it went really bad for defense. And now,
We had previously, for all intents and purposes, formally closed, but prior to closing all proof, it obviously was not brought to the attention that any of the defendants wanted to testify, but for purposes of the record, we can go ahead and we'll start with Mr. Perry if you want to bring your client around for the moment here.
We have everybody.
Sir, raise your hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you give today will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
All right, that's easy.
See, John, thank you. Please state and spell your first and last name.
Tadarrius Bean, Taarrius. Bean, Bean.
Mr. Bean, you've been present at all of the hearings and proceedings regarding this case, correct?
Yes, sir.
And in addition to those proceedings that have been inside the courtroom, you've been in my presence, in my office, hundreds of hours probably, correct?
Yes, sir.
You've asked a number of questions and have been actively involved in your case, right?
Yes, sir.
And through that time, you found that we've discussed and we've received information. We've gone through those documents together, videos, etc. Right?
Yes, sir.
And at this time, previously, I have advised you of your constitutional rights regarding the ability to testify and your desires in that regard. Correct?
Yes, sir.
And in this case, at this time, can you articulate to the court your desire in that regard? Do you want to testify on your own behalf? Or are you satisfied with the trial going forward or the hearings going forward to the jury at this point without you having testified?
I am satisfied with going forward without me testifying.
And you realize that you have an absolute constitutional right to sit there and answer questions and be cross-examined by the state as well, if you so desire, correct?
Yes, sir.
And it is your educated and well-expressed right at this time to go forward with this case without having taken a stand in front of the jury on your own. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And do you have any reservations regarding that right? In other words, am I pressuring you, or is this on your own accord?
No, sir, this is my own accord.
And you understand those rights fully?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any sort of desire at this point for me to ask any questions to the judge to be explained to you regarding that right?
No, sir.
Sir, do you have any questions for the court about your right to testify or the right not to testify?
No, sir.
All right, sir, if that, as we go ahead and include proof, if that decision changes, sir, you need to make sure you let your attorney know before we close today.
Yes, sir, I got you.
Thanks, sir. All right, Mr. Stengel, you want to bring our
Call to Derek. I call Demetrius Haley.
So do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you give today will be the truth and nothing but the truth to help you God? Yes, sir. All right, now, please, sir. All right, proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Would you state and spell your first and last name for the record, please?
Yes, sir. Demetrius Haley, Demetrius, last name Haley, Haley.
And Mr. Haley, how long have I been representing you with regard to the January 7th, 2023 arrest of Tyre Nichols?
Since 2023, January 7th, 8th. Since the beginning.
For a couple of years from the very beginning, correct? And Mr. Leffler's been involved for a substantial portion of that, correct?
Yes, sir.
And have you been present for the entire trial here in state court?
Yes, sir.
Past 10 days,
Yes, sir.
including the portion of it in East Tennessee,
Yes,
correct?
sir.
And you've met countless, dozens of times with me and Mr. Leffler over the past 2 years, correct?
Yes, sir.
And have we thoroughly discussed this prosecution of you during our meetings?
Yes, sir.
And have you had a chance to review the discovery?
Yes, sir.
Have you asked me and or Mr. Leffler all of the questions you have had regarding this case?
Yes, sir.
And have we discussed, amongst other things, that you have a constitutional right to testify in this case if you want to?
Yes, sir.
Have we also discussed the fact that you have a constitutional right not to testify?
Yes, sir.
And have we discussed the fact that there are pros and cons of both choices, correct?
Correct.
Potential pros and cons.
Yes, sir.
And have we discussed the fact that the decision is yours?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Have you discussed those pros and cons regarding the decision with me and Mr. Leffler?
Yes, sir.
Have you had enough time to discuss that matter with me and Mr. Leffler?
Yes,
That you're
sir.
comfortable with your decision?
Yes, sir.
And what is your decision regarding testifying in this case?
My decision is to not to testify.
Do you have any hesitation in that decision at all?
No, sir.
Right, that's all I have.
Sir, do you have any questions for the court or your attorney about your right to testify or your right not to testify?
No, sir.
All right, so you can step down.
Come this way, Jim. Mr. Justin Smith, Your Honor.
Sir.
Raise your right hand.
Sir, do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you give today will be the truth and nothing but the truth so help you God?
Yes, sir.
All right, have a seat, sir.
Please state your full name for the record.
His name is Justin Smith. Justin, last name Smith.
Mr. Smith, you've been involved with me and my office throughout this criminal prosecution since the date the indictment came down on you. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
You met with me, you've met with experts, your family's met with me. Have there been any questions that you have regarding trial strategy, trial tactics, witnesses that have gone unanswered?
No, sir.
As of today, with all the proof having been rested, was there any proof that you desired to be put on that wasn't put on?
No, sir.
And did I explain to you repeatedly your Fifth Amendment right not to take the stand and your constitutional right to testify on your own behalf? Have I gone through that with you a number of times?
Yes, sir.
And has the decision always been yours?
Yes, sir.
Did you consult with your family, pray about it, etc.?
Yes, sir.
And, well, by the way, what kind of education you got? What level of education?
Bachelor. College bachelor degree.
And based upon all that, your involvement with me, the witnesses, the experts, and having gone through all of the proceedings with me, do you wish to testify in your own defense in this case?
No, I do not.
And do you have any questions that the court may be able to answer for you or shed any light on this?
Not at this time.
Yeah, that's all I have.
All right, now, Mr. Smith, sir, you said not at this time. Sir, once we step down from that stand, that time's going to be over. So I just want to make sure, do you have any questions about your right to testify or right not to testify?
I apologize. No, sir, I don't. I do not.
All right, so you can step down and go back to your seat.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Now, having momentized the defendants at this time, we're going to go ahead and take up the motions for judgment of acquittal. When we come back, we will go over the jury instructions. We'll take up those motions. Looking at the time, we're going to go ahead and adjourn at this time. We will come back. The court will send you the jury instructions via email. You all can look over those. But we will come back at 9 a.m. to go through the jury charge as well as closing arguments.
Judge, you say 9 a.m. tomorrow?
9 a.m. Monday morning. We'll go ahead and-
All rise. Court stands adjourned until Monday morning, 9 a.m.
I got a feeling. I got a feeling. And it's not good. I think one or two is gonna go down for murder, but I don't think all three is. I just got that feeling. I don't think it's gonna happen. No, Monday. But the judge got to come up with the jury instructions and all of that shit. Then you got to email it to the defense and the prosecution for them to review it and yada, yada. Because like I said, the jury instructions is a long-ass fucking packet. And it pretty much tells you the law. And if you can convict, if the state has proved enough evidence for you to convict on said charges. I'm curious to see the jury instructions. But I got a feeling. I got a feeling. And that also explains why it's right now, Memphis is so fucking hot. Like when I was just out earlier, police is everywhere. Of course, we also got a few festivals going on too. So, but I got that feeling. I don't know why I got that feeling, but I got that feeling. The way Justin's attorney has really Justin's attorney, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be honest about it. He has done a damn good job separating Justin from Demetrius and Bean. You already had Martin and all these damn names. You already had Martin and the other one, Mills. They've already pled. The maximum they're facing is 15 to 20. I don't even think they're going to get that because they cooperated. Because when I heard they can serve fucking house arrest, That is a possibility of their sentence. They can serve this whole sentence. If they get sentenced to some years, they can serve it on supervised release, so they can serve it at home. So keep that in mind. And Mills and Martin were two of the main aggressors. So you already had them two plea out. Justin, he really held them. Like I said, Justin wasn't really a part of the beating. He wasn't. I'll give him that. He did hold Tyre to get beat, though. He did. And he also lied on fucking federal documents. He did get charged and convicted on that. Now, Fed sentencing has been delayed until the state trial is done because, like I said, they want to run these sentences concurrent of each other, not congruent, concurrent of each other. So they're waiting until the state trial is done before they sentence them for basically contempt and perjury. Basically, because that's what they got convicted of in Fed court. They didn't get convicted of violating civil rights or any of the major shit. Okay? So keep that in mind. And this was Fed. This was DOJ. Yeah, concurrent. So I got that feeling Justin might squeak by. I'm going to be honest with that. I got a feeling Justin is going to squeak by. And before anybody say, don't put that in the universe, fuck you. I'm speaking what I feel, and 9 times out of 10, I'm right. Ask Pika. Ask Pika how many times where I said, I don't think that's going to happen. And sure as shit, I'm right. Not saying I'm always 100% right, but I just got a feeling only 2 of them are probably going to get convicted of murder. If that. Now, I know Haley his ass is fucked. Haley, fucked. Them kicks, you can't, there's no justification to the kicks. There's not. Yes, an option of their sentence is basically home arrest. Yes. So there's not even a guarantee that they'll spend time in prison with the Fed trial and them being found guilty of basically perjury and falsifying documents. There's no guarantee that they will serve prison time, because if you go back and watch the beginning, because they were trying to bring the Fed trial info into the state trial, and some of it was allowed, some of it wasn't, but they were basically like, it's a separate trial, so we're going to leave Fed with Fed, and this is state. And if you go back to like the first day, they said the maximum sentence is 15 to 20, or they can serve their sentence at home. But like I said, the federal judge had said in January that he was not sentencing them until after the state trial was done. So we have to wait until the jury comes back on this before we even know what the officers are going to be sentenced to. That's all. And I mean, Sunday, I hear what you're saying, but depending on the jury instructions, that may not even be an option in there, honestly. It may not. It just really depends on the jury instructions and what the judge allows. Hell, the only one that's in prison right now is Martin. And the only reason why he's in prison is because he did fuck shit that didn't even have nothing to do with the trial. Martin got locked up back in February, which I didn't even know until the trial started because I hadn't been keeping up with his ass. He got locked up for basically telling his baby mama that he would kill her and her new boyfriend, basically. And the judge still tried to save his ass, talking about ask the PO, well, why do you want to revoke his bond conditions? And she pretty much had to say, because he's a danger to that woman. So there's so many ways this can go, but do I think all three are going to be found guilty of murder? I just don't see it. I will say that. I'm going to be honest about it. Justin's attorney did a damn good job of separating him from the rest. Although I feel like Justin, I still feel like one band, one sound. You did fuck shit. You lied on reports. You held Tyree so your partners could beat the shit out of him. I don't give a fuck if it was in the heat of the moment type shit and you didn't see the kick, so you failed to intervene. Whatever that dude sat there and said on that stand, the last one, talking about, well, if you don't see the kick, you don't have a duty to intervene. What kind of fuck shit was that? All three of the old ass, decrepit ass motherfuckers that they found out in the graveyard, take them back. Take them the fuck back. Yeah, they wouldn't talk about the lies on the report because I'm sorry, I would have shut that shit down. So you're telling me Justin's a good man? Yes, sir. So does a good man lie and falsify police reports to help cover for his buddy? You guarantee that motherfucking defense. Objection. They would have hopped up so damn fast. Objection. No, I'm dead ass serious. Take their ass back to the graveyard because both of them, all three of their asses got 1 foot in the casket and 1 foot on earth. I ain't being funny. I'm being for real shit. Everybody, how you gonna bring a motherfucking cop that's 81 years old as an expert witness? This man ain't been a cop in over 15 fucking years. What? How is he training any goddamn body and he on a cane? What? Both of them. 2 of them was on canes. The other one couldn't fucking see. Talking about I can't see that. How the other one sat here and said, oh, I didn't make the video, but I did help make the video. So, sir, you made the motherfucking video. You may not have made it, programmed it, but you helped make the motherfucker. The fuck? Like the testimony I've heard from these expert witnesses, I've been over here smacking my fucking head because I'm like, this shit don't make no sense. This sounds like cop-splaining to me. That's exactly what the fuck it was, cop-splaining. But I'm glad we get a break tomorrow because like I said, Judge Jones fucked me up yesterday talking about we'll resume court tomorrow, 9 a.m. Fuck you mean? 9 a.m. On a Saturday? Everybody I asked that has been in 201, that has dealt with Division 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6, all the way up to 9, have said they ain't never seen that motherfucking courtroom open on no Saturday. I even said something to my dad, and he was like, they must be behind. I said, they already behind 2 years. So if they can have fucking court on Saturday for these motherfuckers, then why you can't do it for everybody else that's behind in Memphis? Come on now. Y'all just opened the can of worms with that one. A lot of folks, if y'all got court cases downtown and they keep telling y'all and bullshitting y'all and y'all can't get a speedy trial, I be bringing this motherfucking trial up. What you mean I can't get one and y'all be having court on fucking Saturday? I promise. I would be telling my lawyer, you know they had Tyre's trial on a Saturday, right? Because anybody else in this city, they don't do that shit for. I'm telling you what I know. They don't do this shit for everybody. Not even Fed Court does this shit. That's the thing. You're not going to be able to sweep this one under the rug. And all of us, yesterday, when we heard Judge Jones Jr. sit here and say, we'll see y'all tomorrow at 9 a.m. Because I was on the phone. That's why I ended so abruptly yesterday. I was on the phone. My sister had called me. Yesterday was one of them fucking days everybody and their mama wanted to call. I'm like, y'all don't never call me. And then when I'm doing something important, that's when everybody want to call me. But I typed in the chat, did he just say we're having court Saturday? And everybody was like, yeah. What? Like I said, all of my Memphis folks that got court at 2:01, send your lawyer this trial and tell them. And they keep bullshitting y'all and keep sending y'all, putting y'all shit off and keep putting y'all shit off. Because that's what the fuck they've been doing down there. They keep putting off folks. I know one person that done got put off 4 times by the judge. Just keep on and keep on and keep on. Send them this motherfucking trial and say, if y'all can have court on Saturday for this shit, then you can have court on Saturday for the other shit. You have a right to a fair and speedy trial. Whether you did this shit or not, I don't know. I wasn't there. Don't really care if you did. But I'm just saying, point this shit out. This shit ain't cool. I was mad as hell this morning. I had to wake up at fucking 8 o'clock. I usually sleep to 10 or 11 on Saturdays. Not today. I kid it, cool. I'm dead ass. Y'all laughing. I'm dead ass serious though. I sleep to about 10 or 11 on Saturdays. And Sundays, I get my ass up and take care of my house chores and deal with the dogs. Like, that's why I said I pray to God we don't have court tomorrow, because I got to get my babies some baths. They got to get their flea and tick medicine, all of that. So I have shit to do. Just like I had to stream this late because I did not expect court to happen today. So I'm like, well, I've already made appointments and shit. It's just going to have to wait until I get back because I'm not canceling my appointment. So I'll see you Monday, Sunday. I should be a rapper, huh? That shit rhymed real good. But this trial has been very eye-opening, listening to certain statements and testimonies. Of course, this is the first trial I've ever really sat through and paid attention to. So a lot of this is new territory for me as well. Now, there's certain things I do know about the court because I make it no secret. I've been down at 2, especially last year. I was down there once every month, no lie, in fucking traffic division, which I thought was a bunch of bullshit, but whatever. But some of this has been very eye-opening, and seeing the defense strategy, which to me, they had no strategy. It was every man for themselves. They were all throwing each other under the bus. Day 3 was wild as hell. I'm sorry. Day 3 was real wild, especially with Special Agent Baker, and he pretty much told their asses. I wasn't called to investigate stolen credit cards and shrooms. I was called to investigate the death of Tyre. That's what I was called for. Yeah, downstairs. Look here, though. As long as I'm not upstairs, I'm good. I'll stay downstairs. I don't give a fuck. As long as my trial cases doesn't go upstairs, I'm straight. Because upstairs, that means state done picked your shit up. And if the state has picked your shit up, 9 times out of 10, the state got something on your ass. The state ain't picking up shit just to be picking it up. That's why a lot of my homeboys, when they get caught up, they pray to God that their shit stays downstairs. And what'll happen is, this is true story. I can call somebody right now. They shit was downstairs. The prosecutor declined to prosecute it. They thought they were home free. Next day, they get a notice saying that their shit was sent upstairs, and they had an indictment against them. They had enough to go for a state trial. Sure as did. That'll happen. Local will drop the charges so state can pick it up. And if state picks that shit up 9 times out of 10, they got something on your ass. I've watched them do that. They'll sit here and drop, the city of Memphis will drop that shit, and you think you scot-free, you think you done beat a charge or whatever, and then the next day you find out your shit went upstairs to a grand jury and you got an indictment. Cash. I don't even know who Chandler Bing is, so there you go. Whoosh, over my head. I don't know, I guess we'll see Monday, though. Like I said, I'm glad we got a break, or at least a day to, regroup and figure some shit out. Like, I don't know, I just got that feeling, though. I got the feeling that the jury, and then that was, like I said, that shit was shocking today when I found out not one black person is on that jury. What? But it's really not shocking because, once again, I've said it numerous times. Cash, what's the demographics of Chattanooga? What's the percentage of white people? See, I don't watch Friends. Yeah, I don't watch sitcoms, y'all. I don't get into the whole, like, the Game of Thrones era, Walking Dead, a Teen Wolf, or all of that shit. I did not get into that shit. I prefer reading a book. No, that's Memphis. Chattanooga is 73% white. Memphis is 54% black, and that's the only city in Tennessee that has the makeup that it has. Mainly because Memphis is a what, Cash? It's a what lead city? The only lead city in Tennessee. Yeah, I didn't either. Candy, I didn't either. Not especially when I found out the demographics up there. Like I said, it's like 74% white and 18% black. And then Memphis is 54% black and 13% white. Memphis is also the only Democratic-led city in Tennessee. So there's that. And Nashville doesn't fuck with Memphis. Nashville is actually trying to take over Memphis as far as like the school board and all of that, which I will say, in Nashville's defense, Memphis deserves that shit. They do. They deserve that shit. They deserve it 100%. What they did to our school board and how fucked up it is and how we got racist ass school board members on the school board, it needs to be taken over. Bitch gonna tell a Mexican, I hope they deport your ass. All because she called you a bitch and you black. The fuck is wrong with you? Bitch, they're a minority just like we are. Fuck is wrong with you? Well, we're a majority here, but still, it's the point. Fuck is wrong with you? Go to any other city in Tennessee and they gonna treat you like you a fucking minority, bitch. Gonna tell that girl, I hope they deport you. What kind of shit is that? That's why you got a whole petition against your ass right now, and I hope your ass get fired. And I don't normally go after people's job, but fuck, she does not need to be on the school board. And the majority of your kids in this city is black and Latino. Yeah. You don't need to be on the school board. You don't. Yeah, all because the girl called her a bitch. Yep. And told her she needed to resign. Sent her a Facebook message and called her a bitch and told her she needed to resign. Then the school board member responded and said, I hope they deport your ass. As far as I'm concerned, you don't need to be on no school board or nothing. Like I said, when majority of your schools is minorities, majority of them are Latino and black kids, and you want to sit here and say you're for the students, bitch, get out of my face. No, that's just the type of shit that, like I said, that's why I can't even fault Nashville for trying to take over Memphis City schools. I can't, because of the shit they've done and the shit that they've implemented. I can't fault Nashville for that. I can't sit here and say Nashville is bogus. No. What the school board has done and how they've handled situations and how we can't keep a superintendent and all of this, that's an issue and it needs to be addressed. And now that Nashville is threatening to take over the board, now all of a sudden they want to do their job and shit. No. And I'm not saying Nashville takeovers would be the best thing for Memphis, but I can't fault them. You know, I can't fault them for wanting to. But I also feel like there's a hidden agenda with that, too. I'm going to be honest with that. I do feel like there's a hidden agenda with Nashville trying to take over our school boards. And I think it has a lot to do with the Latino population, if you catch my drift. See, Memphis City School Board spent $43,000 on outside PR help in 2 months. Yeah, Nashville got some fucked up shit going on with that. I could be wrong. I'm not an expert and I don't live in Nashville. But what I do know is I know a lot of these senators have been gunning for certain things, especially schools. They don't care what age you are. They have straight up said if you're here illegally, you go into a detention center, basically. So, especially Senator Brent Taylor, bitch, I can't stand him. He an old bitch too. Well, Cash, you got the complexion for the protection, so you could do that. See, like for me, the best I could do is probably Jackson, Tennessee. Like Murfreesboro and all of that other shit, that's a no-go for me, big dog. Yeah, that's where they pull you over the most is them highways right there, especially on 40. Y'all didn't see where I covered where they had falsely locked up people on DUIs and their blood draw came back completely negative for any type of drugs or alcohol. And the state of Tennessee was like, well, sorry about that. Do you know how many people lost their jobs because of those charges? One man I felt so bad for, he was a UPS driver. Well, if you're at FedEx, UPS, you cannot have DUIs and shit like that. Even if it's pending, you cannot have that. They let him go. Well, when it came out, he was vindicated and that he wasn't under the influence of anything, that the cops lied basically to get an arrest. You think that he got his job back? You think the state of Tennessee paid for a loss of income or anything like that? You think Tennessee even paid a lawsuit? If I was them drivers, I'd have a class action lawsuit against Tennessee, but that's me. Pika, nobody cares. Go eat. Nobody cares, honey. Damn. MPD rolled out Operation Code Zero to focus on illegal guns, drugs, violent offenders throughout the city. Operation Code Zero is underway and we're taking action to restore safety in our communities. The department recently unveiled a new downtown command center and included photos of armored vehicles rolling down the street. If you break the law, expect to be held responsible. Memphis deserves safe neighborhoods and we're working hard to make that a reality. But what if we need saving from y'all? And what if you file a report and it goes to IA and come to find out that cop that you made a report on, family works as IA? Who's supposed to protect you then? And that's a real story, by the way. There's absolutely a rogue ass cop on these streets. His name is Streets. That goes around, harasses people. And he has buddies in eternal affairs, so nothing ever happens to him. Nothing ever. You know how many complaints he's done had on him, and they go nowhere. I wonder how CJ feels about all of this. I wonder how CJ feels that we've had investigators on the stand sit here and say, no, driving infractions were committed. You know, he failed to use his turn signal when he changed the left lane. After she said there was none. So who's the liar? I don't know. We shall see Monday, I guess. We'll hear closing arguments, and then they'll deliberate, and hopefully we'll have a guilty plea. I hope. I don't know. Like I said, with this jury makeup and all, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. It could be a good thing or a bad thing. It is black officers, so let's keep that in mind. But I don't know. So, but I will catch y'all. Hell no, I'm not going live tomorrow. Don't ask. Don't ask. I'm not. I'm getting some much needed rest. And we will come back Monday morning, 9 a.m. And we'll go from there. So y'all have a good night. Protect your mental. And I'll see y'all or not even, it's just 2 days from now. So I'll see y'all Monday. Y'all be good, y'all.